Hey there YouTube, AJ here, and it's time to start figuring out how to attach my cowl section back to the subframe of the front part of my 1927 Ford Model T Touring Hot Rod. I do still have some work to do on the cowl. I got to put in the inner braces up here and repair this dash rail, and there's a few cracks and things I need to touch up, but I don't want to jump right back into working on the cowl again. Mainly because of my ADHD, I'm tired of working on the cowl. So I'm going to put this aside for a little bit and start preparing the subframe of the front section here because it needs cleaned up and get it ready to where I can start putting the cowl on. I'd like to say that was a piece of cake, but it wasn't. I did drop it onto my grill shell. Fortunately, no damage that I can see, so, and doesn't appear that anything major got broken or anything, so we got it out of here. So I got it out here, bottom side up. I'm going to start trying to clean off as much rust as I can from underneath here. And see what looks like. I might have to cut this piece of panel out here. Anyway, I want to get this as clean as I can underneath here. Throw some Rust-Oleum rust reformer on it just to get it prepped, and then flip it over and do the same on the top side. I also need to cut off this mount here. I want to make it the same as this side. I had to cut this side off for my clutch pedal. It was interfering, so we cut that off. I don't need these where they're at, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut this one off too, make them symmetrical. And I'll either make a body mount out of this somehow or cap this at some point later, but for now we'll work with it as is. So I'm going to cut that off and start cleaning this up. Dry, and then I guess we'll try to put it back onto the frame. This isn't the final coating, stripping, body work on all that. I got more to do yet. I just wanted to get most of it coated to where it's not disgusting to work with and get the majority of the rust gone. We'll see what I do later. Eventually, once I get the entire body together, I'm going to be pulling the whole thing off, doing all the body work at once. For now though, I'm trying to get to the spots that are going to be inaccessible in the future. So I wanted to do that. Unfortunately, I did find inside here there's some rust holes. It's not bad, but I might just leave it. It's really not that bad. It could be patched later if need be from just lifting the body up, because this part will be accessible. I don't know, we'll see what I do there. I'm gonna wait until I get closer to actually getting my cowl mounted to this side, I think. Other than that, where this leg was joined to this subframe, it seems to be matched pretty well, and it seems to match the subframe. So I think this was the original front foot. The driver's side was the original front part of the subframe here, I think, but I'm not positive. On this side, on the passenger side, it is not matched up near as well, and I think I'm gonna have to cut this apart. And you know, obviously the previous person just tacked this together on both sides, but I think I'm gonna have to cut this apart to get my door to fit correctly, because I never could get both doors to fit correctly. I could get one, like the driver's door fits pretty good, but I can never get the other one fit correctly. So I think once I put it back on and get the cowl mounted, and I go to fit the doors, I will probably have to cut this side apart again so I can get both doors to fit at the same time. So let's let this dry some, and then we'll put it back on the car.
Come on, baby. Work. On. Hey, there, my friend.
Around the pedals, gear shifter, steering column. Whoa. Okay. Now, you know what? I really don't want to put this. Really don't want to put this part back on yet. That paint is still really soft. It's just going to scratch it. So let's just kind of. We'll just hang that right there for tonight, and we'll get back on this at some point. Well, I was getting ready to start mounting this, but then I found a pinhole down here I need to fix. So I need to weld that up. I got to check to see if there's any more. I think that was my only one, but there could be more. But that made me realize I also want to weld up these 3 holes here, and I want to do that before I mount it, so you know, have easy access to the front and back. This was the original radiator rod, prop, stay, whatever you want to call that thing. And I've got 2 of those brackets, and I'm going to move them out, and I want to mount them a little outboard and run 2 rods. And before I weld these up, I want to get my new places marked on here. The idea is to widen this out to go around the carburetors, but I also don't want to go too far because the cowl slopes downward on the outside, and I don't want those rods running uphill. I want to try to keep them level to up higher at this end so it runs downhill to the nose, which means basically I need to stay at the same height here and just bring it out as far as I can. And I think that's going to be about 5 inches either way, so I'll have a 10-inch spread between them. It's about all I can get.
Peel. Footer so off. Hopefully we can get this pretty.
I want to come out 5 inches from this hole. And I knew that was going to be it. There's a rivet right here that's right dead in the way. That rivet's going to have to come out. It looks like it's a split rivet, so that's good. Let's see if I can get something to get it out of there. I got it. It went somewhere. Never to be found again. Alright. So now we got our pieces. I think to make this simpler, we need to just line it up on our line and keep our top edge even with the tape. And as such, when we do that, we move down about 1/4 of an inch overall. Any higher and I start to get in the curve. So I'm going to try to mark them there. Let's grab the level. Let's grab the level. We are just slightly on the downhill side there. We're going to have to roll with that. If we take these.
That was much.
All right. Okay, now we're just going to drill those so we have them. We'll have to weld these up in the center, and we'll have to weld this one hole up where I pulled that rivet out here. So when I go to actually mount these, I'm going to be using rivets. So I'll have to drill these holes out bigger. But at least I'll have them marked where I need them to be for now. And I don't have to worry about that. I did find out that the big square hole that was over here was actually where the fuel valve came out of the tank, which was in the cowl originally. And then these holes here, and there's one like in here, those I think were where they bolted the fuel tank in. And then these 3 holes here, there was like a wiring block bolted here, and wires went from that into the car. So I did find out what some of these original holes were. Got another rivet here. If that's another split rivet, it might need to come out and be welded. It is. Yeah. I got a feeling over time that's just going to that's going to come out if I leave it. So I probably will pop that one out and weld that one up too. Okay, so I pulled the cowl back off and I took the firewall. I welded up the holes for the radiator prop rod support and welded up the holes that for the rivets and other things that I wasn't going to be using. I decided not to use. So I went ahead and just did that. Again, it's all rough for now. I know I have to come back in here and grind and sand more, but anyway, it's just done for now. I also welded up all the holes in the side of the leg here and the extra holes that were down here. These holes will be used for mounting. I still have to drill those holes in this leg. I still got to do some shaping on this leg too, because this has been out too far. It's got to fix that. And this has got to this flat surface here has to rotate back. It's not flat, it's kind of at an angle. So that's got to get fixed yet. Not worried about that yet. I want to do that when it's on the car. In here, one of the holes, mounting holes, is open. It's got this tear out here I need to fix. There's a mounting hole here that there's a rivet in. I need to knock out that rivet. Same down here. There's actually 2 rivets here, although should only be 1 per the other side, so I don't know what the deal is there. And then this rivet here needs to be knocked out, so I got to do that yet. Looking down inside the leg, the whatever you call this thing of the subframe, there's some rust holes through the bottom of it that I wasn't going to address, but now I think I'm going to have to. This side's not so bad. I think I can just fill those in without too much work. However, on this side, you can see down in there, there's actually more holes, and it's a lot more rusted out. So I'm probably gonna have to actually put in a patch panel. This piece here actually is supposed to have a hole here and have more of a tab rounded up over top of it, like the other side. See, like this. So I'm gonna have to weld that tab on again. But in the end, what all that means at this point is in order to fix this leg, weld in that patch panel, fix this tab, weld in that stuff, I really, because of the pedals, especially on that side, the pedals are all in the way in the steering column, I'm gonna have to pull this section off again and take it out to where I have room to work on it, which just sucks. I don't really want to do that, but I'm gonna have to. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead, straighten up this tab here, because I think it needs to be straight like that one. This one doesn't look like it was ever bent. And go ahead and get those rivets out. I can do that right there, and I think it'll be actually easier with it on the car because it will move less and I'll be able to work on it a little easier. So we're gonna go ahead and do that stuff now. I think I may just go ahead, rather than try to make a patch piece for this, I think I may just try to go ahead and drill out a hole on each of these and just try to weld it in place without actually making a patch panel. So basically, let's see what happens. I don't know, that was off the center. I don't know. It's pretty bad. I think I'm gonna need to cut this out. Shoot. Yeah, it's rustier than I thought. I definitely need to cut out more than I thought I was gonna have to. I thought I was gonna be okay. Let's see about this side. Probably should try to cut out a little patch panel here too. Daggone it. This edge here, I'll just clamp copper on it and weld that in and trim it to fit. And then I got to make a little tab to go on this. Okay, it's bigger than I initially thought, but I mean, that's all right, I guess. On this side, we got a much bigger piece we got to cut in here. And now I got to find some sheet metal to put in there and cut some patches. So let's start by making us a rough template. Alright, that's one. Now I gotta do that again for this other side. Okay, got our templates made. Now we're gonna cut them out of this cowl. It seems to be about the same thickness, so we're gonna go ahead and try to cut out patch panels out of it. Okay, so I got my patches cut close enough. I think I can like tack them in and then bang them into position. I also cut a little tab to put on here. I did cut this back a little bit to get rid of the thin material, and we'll weld this on as well. Alright, so clamp that one on there for now. I'm going to take our piece of copper, clamp it on right here. Nope, we got to get that a little better. Alright, and we'll just try to fill that in straight with weld rather than actually try to make a patch for it. Hopefully that'll work out. And then we'll start welding in our patch panels as well. Well, I'll never like bring someone down here and say, look at this patch I did, but it's all right, I guess. It'll be fine. I don't know when the GoPro died during all that. I'll have to see when I edit it. But yeah, I had to go back a couple times and weld in, fill in some holes, do some more grinding, etc. It's far from perfect, but you know what? Like I said, no one's going to see it down here. And like old Puddin says, you know, grinder and paint makes you the welder you ain't. I mean, that's not the best grinding job. I might do some more sanding on this later before I go to paint everything, but for now that's good enough. This side over here went a little better, a little easier. Had better metal on this side. On this side I was blowing out holes and chasing holes for a ways, so this was a lot harder to weld. A little tab here turned out pretty good. Still got to find and put my hole in it. And this edge here turned out really good, so happy with those. So regardless, it's ready to go back onto the car now, and so I can start mounting the actual cowl to it. Well, I think that's going to be it for this video. Whoa, 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 hang on, hit the brakes. Started recording my outro yesterday. Thought I was ready to put this thing onto the subframe. And then I remembered, yet again, I have forgotten, I have not installed these inner braces back into the cowl. So let's get that done so we can go on to the outro. So this thing will be ready to go onto the subframe. Now you may remember that I'm not using the braces that came with this cowl. I'm using the braces that came with the other cowl because they were a lot less rusty. Those are the other ones that actually broken into pieces. The main difference is at this end down here where they attach, the other pieces had like a bend in them and a curve to match this. And these want to mount flat. So I have to bend this and curve the end of this piece to match that. Okay, well, I already did the other one, but apparently I forgot to start the camera. So here we go again. I'm going to put this one in the vise. Okay, I think it's about right. Yeah, I need a little more bend on that one. Okay, we're pretty good on our downward angle. So what we got to do now is put a curve in it this way. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can get these lined up. I'm just sticking rivets in them for now. There we go. Now, okay. All right, so I got these in, got them lined up. This one needs to be bent just a little bit more over. It's not quite lined up, but this one's pretty good. But what I need to do is get some bolts to fit in these holes, and then I'll tighten these down and I'll weld the edges. And back here, I'm going to try to use rivets. I guess I could use bolts for now, but and tie those together. Then we'll weld along these edges on both back side and front side, maybe one in the middle here too. So weld, 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 and side, side, side. All right, let's go get some bolts. Well, getting these bolted in down here was a royal pain, but I did it. They're bolted in. We're bolted in back here. I will eventually rivet these, but right now I'm going to go ahead and weld. It is already a lot sturdier. I can't believe how much those two braces stiffen this thing up. So, you know, good thing it's there. Anyway, let's clear some paint off here so we can throw some welds on it. Alright, well, she's all ready to go on now. This is welded in. It's nice and sturdy. These bolts will be staying. These bolts will be staying. Those bolts back there will get replaced by rivets when I get ready to rivet this together with the subframe. I figure I might as well just do it all at once. I don't want to be doing the riveting in piecemeal. So, now I can go ahead and stick this back on the subframe, and then we can get back to our outro and get all caught up. All right, back to that outro. Like everything, getting this far took me a lot longer than I anticipated. I want to let this paint dry before I put the cowl back on. So I think we're going to stop there. And then the next time we'll be actually putting the cowl on, putting the doors back on, and trying to line up the cowl and get it attached to the subframe. And like I said, I'll probably have to cut this leg loose again and reposition all this. I'm pretty happy with how my patches came out down there. Again, not the best. And I only caught myself on fire twice. I had a spark land on my leg, burned through my overalls, and then I had one get in the cuff of my overalls on the wrist, and it burned all the way through my overalls and into my shirt. So that was nice. Yeah, I caught myself on fire twice. If you like stuff like that, subscribe. I need subscriptions. And follow along with my build. And I guess that's about it. Thanks for watching, if you're watching this far especially. Hope you all come back to watch more, and we'll see you next time. Later.